Manon Fiorot, as y'all know, a few weeks back. Well, shout out to Manon Fiorot. She's actually in the top 15 now. She's number 14. After her dominant win over Mayra Bueno Silva. And let me just make sure. Let me see here. Yeah, that was a few weeks ago, October 16th. And much like everybody else, me studying Manon and seeing all her fights and being a fan of her, I could see that there was a difference in the performance. It was dominant. She did what she needed to do to win, but I could definitely see there was something about her in that fight that wasn't right, And shout out to Jean Michel a while back, right after the fight, sent me an interview with Manon, with French media, and it was in French. So I had to translate the article, and it was a juicy article. It was a nice, detailed, thorough article. I posted a link for y'all to see, and she went in on the different situations that she was in as far as testing positive, the training, the sparring, how she felt in the fight, how she was about dead, but she kept pushing. Just a lot of different things here, as she talked about. And it kind of built up her stock even more. Like the more I read it, I was more intrigued because instead of using excuses like, oh man, I could have did this, but my back was hurt. No, I could have did this, but she did this. And, she was dirty. There was nothing like that. There was nothing like that. It was all like, I felt bad, but I kept pushing. I felt bad, but I overcame. Legs were gone, stamina was gone, but I still went through the motions to win. That's what kind of built her stock up even more to me and made me become even more of a fan. Y'all already know I'm a fan of her, one of the triple threat. But the interview here, I'm going to kind of go through some key points here. The title said, I stayed 5 days lying down. Manon Fiorot counts her victory in the UFC 3 weeks after the, positive test. So yeah, she was sick from the sea. She felt the symptoms, sparring, sparring was rough after being removed from quarantine. She was tough, it was tough. She was feeling the pain. The UFC thought she was asymptomatic, which she wasn't. So after 3 weeks, she was set to return. They thought she was asymptomatic. So they say, all right, after 3 weeks, you should be good. We're putting you back in there. But if they didn't know, she was still feeling the pain, Matter of fact, let's go through the interview here. Let's see. I got to translate it real quick for y'all. And like I said, I already went through it on a live stream. There's just some good points here. I want to liken it to this episode, man. Let's see. Okay. All right. So she did say at the time she resumed training on Monday. They did the sparring again because we had to see where I was at after this period. The first 2 days were really complicated. I managed to spar, but I was in pain all over. It was really hard, but it was getting better day by day. At the end of the week, I thought I had recovered 100%, but that wasn't quite it, especially since I had small injuries because we really sparred all week, which I never normally do. But this was a fight week. So it was all complicated. It was the week of the fight. It was all complicated. It was just hard for her. Okay, I see. Okay. So let's see. So yeah, right there, the sparring right after quarantine was rough on her. She was feeling pain. She wasn't asymptomatic. They said, did you feel a difference about the start of the fight? And what did you feel most about? So this is translated from English, so it's going to be a little off. She said, after the first minute of the fight, I felt it was not as usual. I felt it on my cardio, especially on the muscular level. I was in pain all over. I had trouble sending the blows. I was not released as usual. So yeah, that goes back to what we said. I think we all agree, everybody comes to the channel. Well, myself, first of all, I definitely felt something was off. I could see it in her performance. She was pushing her strikes, like I said, from the first round. And another thing we will talk about is the injury, to the calf, because she did look a little tender there. But one of the things I did say, at the beginning of the round was like, she was pushing some combinations that seemed like were just off. Like she was throwing this right hook that was missing by a mile. It was just too like inner hook. Like she wasn't looping it out enough. Like the right hook was loopy. It wasn't loopy enough. She would turn it in. And then she would like throw these like combinations where she was like pushing her whole body behind it instead of like throwing the rangy shots. Cause Manon is a long fighter. When she throws her 1-2, she can, go pop, pop real quick without getting in the range of her opponent. This one, she was throwing her whole body behind these shots and they still had not much on it. But yeah, after that first round, you could really see like she was not really huffing and puffing, but it was taking a lot to get these shots off. So yeah, I definitely seen that in there that night. Definitely seen that in there. Let's see what else. Hold on. And so yeah, you could definitely tell that affected her cardio because yeah, she couldn't get the full off extensions. And yeah, you could tell like she must have been in pain because she was sensitive to the calf kicks. Like never really seen her hurt that bad. I know Mayra Bueno Silva has power, but when she was hit with calf kicks, you could see that it must have really hurting the muscle. That's why she reacted the way she did, So it said, when C affected you, especially at this point, did you hesitate to forfeit this fight less than a month later? She said, yes. Not necessarily for my coach, but because in training, in sparring, I won rounds easily. And for my part, I tried to tell him it was harder than usual, but he was having a hard time seeing it because I was throwing the same number of hits. Okay, so her trainer felt like she was good to go because of the, she wasn't showing the pain. But she said it was hard. Let's see. Yeah, so she spent 5 days lying down in bed without being able to do anything. And then, she still had the fever. Let's see. So yeah, those are the main points. So she said, they asked, are you fully recovered? Do you still feel the same? Some difficulty, physical difficulty. She said there's a bit of everything going down there. So I don't know if it's the C or the fatigue, but yeah, she still feels tired. This was right after the fight. So yeah. And they said, can you make it wait a bit before getting back into the cage to fight to get back to 100%? She said, it's a bit like that. Yes, there. I think I will really rest. I also have a small injury to the shin from the calf kicks that I took during the fight. So I have to go for exams to see exactly what I have. And then we'll see depending on the results. But whatever happens, I have to really rest for 2 or 3 weeks without doing anything. All right. So that was another thing that, I noticed as well. Like the calf kicks were definitely doing damage from the first round. Mayra Bueno Silva didn't land that many either, So that with a combination of her body being tender, they probably did more damage. Her body still ached, her muscles ached. So calf kicks definitely did their damage. And after the post-fight interview in the ring, you could kind of see her limping. So everything that you've seen with Manon was pretty much spot on. But I like the fact she didn't make any excuses. She was coming off of the C, when she still had a solid performance, and there was some damage done in there. It was an off night. But with that being said, after just going through that interview, I don't think this is a time to be disappointed, especially for her as a fighter. Like, we might say, okay, she didn't get the knockout. But me as a fan of the fight game and what a fighter shows as far as still wanting it and dominating in the fashion that they did, I still enjoy it. Because not everybody's going to look 100% or look the same. But if they can go through the motions and get every round in the bag, I'm happy. I wanted to see the knockout, and she did too. I wanted to see the stoppage because that's what I call for. But I know that a fighter won't show up the same way every night. Some nights are like this. So it's not a time to be disappointed. It's time to be proud. Most fighters that come in that say they're close to 100% with nothing wrong with them don't even look this dominant. Some fighters on their best days don't look this dominant. She still had more than enough to control her opponent, who was very dangerous, full-fledged flyweight, right? And she still handled it well. Of course, by my standards, like I said, I'll call it when I notice something's off. And I did. I said, okay, something looks off. Wasn't making excuses. I just said she really looked off from what we see. And it wasn't because of the style matchup. Something on her side was not right. And it wasn't, So I'll still tell you that, look, if it doesn't look the same, but it gets it done, I'm impressed. She gave Silva no breathing room. She still showed all of her tools the way she could. Her stand-up was in place. Her clinch game was. And let's not factor her ground game was on point. She still got takedowns in this fight, which her ground game kind of looked a little bit better than her stand-up. So she still had a plan A and a plan. She had a plan A, but she had a plan B and C as well. Again, not every fight's going to be a walk in the park. There's going to be days when you're in there for the biggest challenge and something's going to be off, sick or outside influences. It's all in if you have that will and skill combined to stay on task. And, I think Manon, she had her eye on the prize to say, even though I'm hurting, I'm going to give it my all, get this night over with, and just go through my motions and do my thing. You know what I mean? So that's what she did. And she did it in a dominant way still. So we can't really say, okay, this was a night where she was exposed, because some people say that, no, it wasn't nothing about the mind games. We have legit proof here that she was out because she was sick, in pain, right? So other than that, I think that's what you have to do for these fighters now. Again, these women fighters, they want to be dominant. You have to overcome adversity. I think she overcame adversity in herself. Like, it wasn't really what her opponent brought to the table that was so dangerous. It was more so the mental battle and the physical battle she had to deal with, the illness, like, because she had just called out of the fight, put it off, or because she had laid down and taken an L. Yeah, she could have did that. But it was in her to say, no, I got to do this. I got to do this. That's what other fighters have to learn. Like, dominance has to take over. Dominance, you got to be dominant no matter what. Even if you just push through the night, even if you don't look like yourself, let the dominance take over and you got it. And that's what she did. I know, she's really a fighter that cares about how she looks and how dominant she is, because at first she was upset with herself. I think every fighter has to be that critic. I think everybody is their worst critic, right? So I think she has to understand that, there's going to be nights like that. And she did. She accepted it now. But a lot of fighters now, like women fighters now, WMMA fighters, boxers, whoever, y'all want to make it in the game. This is how you overcome adversity. You have to always be on it and understand that there's going to be bad nights, and making adjustments doesn't always mean you have to adjust to your opponent, but to yourself. It's just got to be in you to always want it, and you'll get it. So based off of this fight and the pain she was in, the sickness, we may not, in the fact that she has to heal up 3 weeks, we might not see Manon challenge for, let's be real, she might not challenge for the title in like another year and a half or two, which is fair, because she's got one more fight on this contract where she probably won't fight till 2022, which would be smart. She's not going to get a fourth fight in now. It's 2 months late, and, might as well heal up. So after she, in the interview, like she said, after she closes out this contract with one more fight, she's going to sign another 4-fight contract deal, right? So more than likely, she's going to fight 3 fights in 2022, if all goes well, right? So 4 more fights coming, 3 fights in 2022. The 4th fight might not be till 2023. And that 4th fight might be the title, going by what she said. Because let's see, with the desire for a 4th fight in the UFC before the end of the year, she said seems a little short considering all that we've been through, but we'll see. It also depends on what they'll offer us, but I don't think so. And let's see, your contract at the UFC was for 4 fights. That's it. They decided to give me to sign a new one right away for 4 more fights. It's in negotiations at the moment, but I will sign this fight. I will sign this second contract before making my 4th fight. Okay. So she's about to sign a new contract then. So with a total of 5 fights on the horizon, one of those might be a title shot. One of those might be the title shot. That last fight might be the title shot on her 8th fight, huh? What do y'all think? Let's see. Seeing as your career in the UFC starts, the difficulty to find challengers for the champ. Let's see. who has cleaned up the category a little. The UFC speaks to you already of an opportunity for the belt during the second contract. Yeah, so she says starting to be in discussions. Don't have the second contract in hand, but it might appear on that. So wow, she might be having the title. I guess when that contract comes out, one of them is going to be guaranteed a title shot in some cases, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong. So she's probably going to see it on there like the 7th or 8th fight is going to be the title shot. Dang. Okay. And she is in number 14 now, so we'll see. We shall see. Let's see what else. Do you already feel ready for such a challenge? She said, today I am not necessarily ready, but in 3 to 4 fights, yes, I need to accumulate some more experience. Right, exactly. That's respect right there. She didn't try to say I'm ready now or I can beat Valentina now. 3 or 4 more fights. She wants to accumulate UFC experience. I respect that. Yeah. So before we get out of here, let's just look too as well. Like at number 14 now, who could she take on? Let's see. At number 14, climbing that ladder, like I said, she could fight Jessica Eye. When Jessica Eye heals up, Jessica Eye had to pull out of her Andrea Lee fight because she had some type of bad allergic reaction. So there's that fight. The winner of Andrea Lee Calvillo, the winner of Grasso Viviana Araujo, the winner of Taylor Santos versus JoJo, the winner of Caitlin Chikagan versus Jennifer Maia, because everybody is booked right now. Roxanne, as I've heard, right as of this moment, Roxanne is in talks to fight Casey O'Neill in either January or February. So that's another fight that's out. So yeah, she's gonna climb the way up the rankings. 3 to 4 more fights. Yeah, she's gonna be waiting for the winner of several of these matchups. So let's be real. At number 14, she'll probably be fighting somebody from 6 through 13, right? Macy's taken by Aaron Blanchfield. Yeah, everybody's pretty much taken right now. Yeah. So 2022 is going to hold the cards. It holds the cards right now. So yeah, man, shout out to Manon Fiorot. Like I said, I just want to go back and revisit this interview here and just talk about how she overcame the adversity and how impressive that is to just go through it and say, look, this is part of life. There's no excuses. We're still going to do the fight. We're going to push through it. We're going to win every single round. And boom, that's how we do.